Hello.
Hi.
My name is Kurt.
Hey, my name is Kurt too.
I like to play with computers.
I like playing on computers.
I like to sit up on the internet
Yep,
and
me
play
too, they're fun.
hard all night long. That's right, my fellow mates.
Yep.
I enjoy
Very much.
playing around on the internet,
Yes, sir.
chatting and playing and
Yes,
listening to
great.
music and enjoying life.
Shut up already. Yeah.
Okay, so what good is a computer if we cannot add, delete, modify users, and all that good stuff? In this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you how you do that in Linux, which is running on the Raspberry and Pi series of computers. If you remember right at the beginning when we were getting ready to select which operating system we were installing on here, it was the Raspbian operating system, which is a version of Linux created for specifically to run on the hardware of the Raspberry Pi. So the first thing we need to do, since I'm going to be taking us through a series of lessons on the Internet of Things, how to create software that you can access a computer or microcontroller through the internet and control real-world things. The Raspberry Pi comes with a default user called Pi, and Pi is given a default password of Raspberry. So if we're going to be accessing our Raspberry Pi through the web, from a web server or something of the sort, we don't want outsiders being able to log into our Raspberry Pi with ease. Hackers, they will always be able to access a computer eventually if you give them enough time. No matter how much security you build into a computer, they will more than likely hack their way in if you don't pay your dues in security. So you don't want to make it easy for them. And if you're really good, they might just give up and go away because, if you have a computer that's got tremendous amounts of thought that you put into your security, it'll be more trouble than it's worth if you don't have some high-profile data that can get stolen. If you do have high-profile data that could be stolen, you're going to have to go a different route than just connecting a little computer up through the internet to your home and then accessing it like that. You would need to go into security in other ways, in-house security, network security, things like that. But here, what we want to do is we want to keep the user Pi. I mean, it's kind of a nice thing to have. That's what it came with, and I'm sentimental. I'm a sentimental guy. I don't want to boot Pi completely off of my Raspberry. So we do want to change the password for the user Pi so that if you leave it the same, somebody will say, oh, that person might have a Raspberry Pi in their house. Let's go and try to log in. So I wonder if they kept their original user Pi, and I wonder if they kept the password as Raspberry. Then they try it. Oh, yes, I'm in. And they're going to control all your robots and your home security stuff or whatever you've built. So we don't want that. So what do? In your console screen, which is the black and white terminal, I'm sure there are other ways to do this, like perhaps through, I think you can probably set up some kind of a graphical user administration thing here in their graphical user interface, but I haven't done that yet. Matter of fact, I'm used to using the terminal. I use it all the time because, frankly, it's much, much faster. And if you're a reasonably good typist, say even 1 year of high school typing, you can literally get around in a system much, much faster in a terminal than you can moving your mouse around, clicking on folders and then going to subfolders, or clicking programs and then going here and going there. And so in our case, let's say we want to change the password of Pi. It's really easy. The first thing you do is type sudo, S-U-D-O, space. Okay, I've been using sudo quite a bit in these videos, so you're probably wondering, why do you have to put sudo in front of everything? Well, sudo stands for super user doer. On a Linux system, there is a super user that you can become super user just by typing sudo. as long as you're already logged into your system, the system remembers that you're already logged in. But you do things as a normal average user that doesn't have access to every part of the operating system, which is a safety mechanism to prevent you from deleting the wrong things or doing the wrong things, messing something up, etc. So it forces you to have to type and tell the operating system you want to do something as super user. Sudo makes you God on your computer when it comes to Linux. So anytime you do something that the administrator or super user of the system would have to do, such as adding users, deleting users, changing passwords of users, and so on, you always want to type sudo, S-U-D-O, space, at the beginning of your operation. So you type sudo space, okay, and then P-A-S-S-W-D, P-A-S-S-W-D, which means password. It's just an abbreviated form, password space. And then you type the name of the user you want to change the password for. In our case, it's Pi, P-I. You hit enter, and the prompt comes up and it says enter new Unix password. So here you will enter the new password for the user Pi. So let me do that here. I'm not going to spell it out for everybody on the web. 1 second. Okay, you'll notice that when you type a password on a Linux terminal, it doesn't show anything, not even asterisks. It's a safety mechanism so nobody can see what you've typed. Of course, I always thought having some asterisks or little stars would be helpful. Obviously, it's not that way. So, okay, once you've typed the password, hit enter, and it asks you to retype the new password for the user. So let's do that again, and if they match, then the user's password will be changed. Hit enter at the end of it, and it says password updated successfully. So now the user Pi no longer has the default password Raspberry. It has the new password I just gave him. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is, if we're going to be creating a new user here on the system, the Raspberry Pi Foundation gave the user Pi, the initial user Pi, a access to the different groups. On Linux, there are groups. Each group can do different things, or each group does one thing, I should say. So if you want to access the CD-ROM, you have to be a member of the CD-ROM group. If you want to access Wi-Fi, you have to be part of a network group. So we'll want to add all of those users, all of those groups to the new user that we're going to be creating here for ourselves to use, our personalized username. So if you want to see what groups a user belongs to, you just simply type groups, space, and then the username Pi, for example. And now there you get a nice long list of all the different groups that Pi belongs to. And you'll notice if you've played around under the username Pi, you're able to use a CD-ROM, you're able to use Super User Doer, you're able to use audio. That's if you have your headphones plugged in or a small set of speakers to your Pi. You have access to video. You can watch video. You can do video things. Games, users, input, network devices, GPIO, have access to the general purpose input-output pins of the Pi. You are going to want those things as the new user that you're going to be adding also. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a new user. Go ahead and choose, you can pause the video, choose a name that you want as your username, and then choose a password that you're going to use as well. So in my case, I'm going to call myself Maker. Okay, so you go sudo space add user space, and then I'm going to create my user account as Maker, M-A-K-E-R, on my Raspberry Pi. Hit enter. Okay, it makes the user, and it has already added a user group maker. Okay, creating home directory. Your home directory will be in the home directory / maker. Then it asks you to enter a new Unix password for maker. So I'm going to do that now. Then hit enter, and it asks you to re-enter the password again, just to double check it, see if they match. And they did. Okay, then you'll come up with a list of things that you can enter. You can enter the full name. I might just do that just for, since we're doing demonstration here. It says full name. I'm just going to enter my first name. Room number, I'm not in a room number. Work phone number, I'm not going to put my phone numbers in here. Don't need them. I already know my own phone number. Is the information correct? Press yes, hit enter. Now you have a new user called Maker, and we will log into that new user eventually, probably in the next video, for example. What if you want to delete a user? Oh, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, roll back. We need to add the groups to that user. So I should have done that when I created the user. So let's see, sudo add user maker, and then we need to give it the groups. ADM, dial out, CD-ROM, sudo, audio, video, plug, DEV, games, users, input, net, dev, SPI, I2C, GPIO. Okay, now, you may not have known that I did this on purpose because I wanted to show you how you delete a user also in Linux. Okay, so in this case, I flubbed up. I forgot to add the groups that I wanted the new user to be given. Of course, you could do that after you've created a new user using another tool in the terminal, but I wanted to demonstrate the use of deleting users in Linux. So if you want to delete this user and you want to start over, I want to delete user maker, the user named maker. So I'll type sudo, S-U-D-O, space, D-E-L-U-S-E-R, del user, which means delete user, space. And then you type the name of the user you want to delete, maker, M-A-K-E-R. Okay, maker has been deleted. Now, I'm going to re-add maker because I really do want the username maker, but this time I'm going to show you how to add access to all the different groups for the user maker so he can access all those things like Pi does. So here we go. Sudo add user maker space. Now you want to type the list of groups that maker is going to belong to. So we're going to go ADM. Actually, let's do maker, because you always want a group that's named the same way as your username. I think Linux usually generates it itself, but even if it does, it'll just give you a little message saying group maker already exists for maker. So we'll go maker, and then we'll go ADM. We'll list all the ones that Pi has access to that we printed out earlier on the screen, using groups dash username, which was Pi. So ADM, dial out, CD-ROM, sudo, audio, video, plug dev, games, users, input, net dev, SPI, I2C, GPIO. Okay, double check your spelling, which is what I'm doing, making sure everything was typed correctly, and it all looks good. When you're done with that, press enter. Only 1 or 2 names allowed. I wonder, okay, let's just do the user. I haven't done this for a while here. I set up my usernames the way I wanted them on my desktop computer running Linux, and then I haven't done any, I'm all by myself in the house, so I only needed it one time. Okay, we'll enter the password for Maker again. And it wants you to re-enter the password. All looks good. Just enter my name, Kurt. The rest of the stuff I don't need. Is the information correct? Yes. Okay, I've re-added my username of Make. So let's see if I can remember how you add groups to a user. I do believe it's just sudo groups maker. If you hit enter, it'll show you the groups that Maker is already a member of. Okay, and now I want to add the other groups to him. So perhaps it was sudo groups maker, and then let's see, let's just add one to start with. Let's do ADM. Okay, when in doubt, instead of pausing the video and going through this, let's just look it up. Let's use our Raspberry Pi to look it up. You probably won't see everything on the screen. I'm not going to zoom out for this part, but Linux, I'm just going to do a search. Linux add groups to user. I forget how to do it, to be honest with you. To be flat out honest with you. Shame on me. Go have a look. User add -G username then group. How could I have forgotten? Okay. User add -G, large G, capital G, and then the group name, ADM. I believe you can add more than one. ADM, dial out. No, you can't do that because there's spaces. So, and then, so user add -G. Let's just add them one at a time. ADM. That didn't work either. Okay. This video is going to get too long with me fiddling. I forget how to add the groups to a user, so I'm going to figure that out before the next video. And I will just add this adding users portion to the next video, which will be how to give our computer a name